Today I'm going to show you how to measure and fit shutters in a Z-frame. Now, a Z-frame has a little bit of architrave which overlaps the edge of your reveal. Just a neater job in general. Covers up any indiscrepancies. So your frame will go against the reveal, and the Z-frame part or the architrave part will fit over the edge. So your shutters are sitting right on the edge of the windowsill and will then consequently open back against the wall, which is the ideal place for them to open if you open them to clean the windows, etc. Right, to measure, usual, you need good tape measure, pencil, paper. We always measure the width first. Width always comes first. So 3 places right on the edge, because that's where your frame is going to be fitted. Smallest size you need to work off. Gets a little bit bigger as it goes down, this one. So 1160 is our first size, millimeters, 1160 or 116 centimeters. Width, drop. Three places, again the smallest measurement so that your shutters will fit nicely in. There we go, 950 or 95 centimeters. Write that down. Now, to fit the shutters in there, we need a little bit of clearance either side. So knock just 5 millimeters or half a centimeter off the width, half a centimeter off the drop. So just take that off, and that is the exact size that you want to give us to make your shutters. And that size is to the back of the framework, which fits into the reveal, not to this outside edge, to this inside edge against the reveal. Okay, so basically that's all you need for measuring. Also, before you put an order into us, you will need to let us know how you want the doors to open. With the case of this one, because it's the size that it is, we've split it into 3 doors. So we'll have 2 doors opening one way, 2 bifold doors opening one way, and 1 door opening the other way, which I'll show you as I install it. But for measuring, that is basically it. Shutters. So we've got all the bits and pieces laid out. We've got our sides, 2 sides, and on the ends of these, it tells you which side it is. Left. Obviously that's the right one in that case. You also have a top and a bottom. Now the bottom is a giveaway because that sits on the windowsill, so there's no architrave on that. So it's basically missing the architrave bit. That's the bottom. The top is the same as the bottom, but with the architrave. Also, your fixing points, let me show you one of these, are in this groove along here. So that would fix, this one would fix into the windowsill on those points. Now that is covered up with a piece of moulding, this piece, which you need to take out before you install them. Take it out by sliding it out. Always slide it out. If you try and pull it upwards, you will end up breaking it. So slide it out nice and easy. Do that on all 4 sides, and then just put them to one side. The rest of mine are down here. Right, also you'll have your doors. In this case, in the smaller box, I had a single door, and then in the bigger box, 2 doors. And then all our fixings, screws for fixing into the walls and the windowsill, hinge pins, make sure you've got enough of them, locking screws, which I'll show you more about while we're installing it, And also, these don't come with the kit, but these can be bought separately. Some spacers. You can buy these off our website if you want to, by just clicking and buying them. They will be for sale on the website, or you can just go into your local hardware store and buy some, or window fitting business. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to install them. You frame out exactly how it's going to be fixed. It can give you some insight into how to put it together. Now, in the fixing kit with all the screws and stuff, you'll receive some of these, which are called Hoffman keys. Now, these are what interlock the joints together by sliding in to the corner of each mitre, and then it locks the mitres together. Right, if you actually turn the whole shutter over, so your left will be going on the right hand side, right on the left. Turn the bottom over. This is just so that you can put the framework together. Easy. Best to do this on the floor, on a carpeted surface, so you don't damage the shutters, rather than on a nice table surface like this. Otherwise the wife won't be very happy. Hoffman keys in the joints, and then push the joints together as far as you can. Sometimes you can push them right up with your fingers. Sometimes you need a little tap with a hammer. So a Hoffman key, that way downwards so that the air can compress out, like that. Push it in, and then join the other mitre to it. There we go. In, push it up. Little tap on that one, just raise it off the surface so you're not damaging anything. Don't have to hit them hard, it's just a little tap just to get it into place. Same on all four corners. Okay. Ouch. Mind your fingers. Go. And then the final corner. There you go. Lift it. There we go, until the surfaces are level. If you're worried about damaging it, or you've got to hit it too hard, use a block to do that, but if it's only a tap, you can use the hammer, as long as you don't go too crazy. Right, now you have your frame together in one piece. Let me just knock that one up a little bit more. There we go. Now your frame is together, all locked together. You can put it in. Make sure it fits in the gap. So fingers crossed on that one. You've got the measurements correct. And we have. Perfect. Okay. Now what we have to do is start fixing it. But we have to make sure everything is level. So the secret of doing that is not to hard fix it. Just put a couple of screws in first. So if you use a small drill bit and mark where all the fixing holes are on your framework, on the wall, take it out again, drill those. I'll show you how to do a couple of them because we've already got pre-drilled holes on the sides of this one. So I'll show you how to do the top ones because they're not done. The windowsill doesn't matter too much because you'll be able to drive a screw straight into the windowsill. Hang on, I've got a drill bit. Okay, So a small drill bit at first, and then a masonry bit, which is a 5.5mm masonry bit, 5.5 or 6mm. This is just a 2mm steel bit that we have normally for fitting. So use that to mark. So that is marked where our screw holes need to go. Frame out. Masonry bit in. Drill through the masonry until you hit the lintel, which is either be steel or concrete. In this case, we're on concrete. Also, it's not deep enough for a plug, so we will have to drill into the steel. Great. So, steel drill bit, which again, if you haven't got any of these, you can buy off our website. They will be readily for sale on there. But essential for drilling into steel lintels. Also, just a word of warning when drilling into a steel lintel or even concrete lintel, because you're underneath it applying the pressure, either keep your eyes squinted or put a pair of goggles on. A pair of goggles ideal so you don't get any metal filings in your eye. Okay, that's our holes drilled. So now sweep off the windowsill with a dustpan and brush. In this case, I'm just going to brush it to one side so we can get on. But it's best to keep the surfaces clean as you go. Right, frame back in. I'm going to screwdriver bit, which is here. And then screws in the holes. So that screw is fixed into the steel. I'm not driving it up hard at the moment, otherwise it'll pull the shutter out of shape. Sides, I'm going to put one fixing in each side. I'll show you why in a minute. And I'm just going to put it in there so it supports the shutter, stops it from falling out. And then we're going to hang the doors next, which will help us square the whole thing up. Okay, so now it's secure enough to hang the doors. This is the single one. Single one, two doubles. Okay, just so that you get the doors the right way around. If you've got a control like this, there's a groove cut out for the control to fit into when it's in the closed position. That should be at the top. So that's the way that you can tell which way around they go. I have seen people send us pictures and they're actually fitted that way, which it's okay if you don't know, but it may not fit as well that way. Okay, so hang the doors. Again, can be a little bit fiddly on your own. So if you can get some help to do this bit. Okay, locate the hinge pins into the hinges, top and bottom. Okay, now put your second door on, which is the second of the bifold doors, which is this one. Yeah. Again, locate that onto there. If you rest the front edge onto the frame, and then you just guide it in. Again, it is fiddly, but worth the result in the end. Okay, so hinge pin in. There we go. That's my bifolds fitted. Okay, let's keep them out of the way for the moment. The single door is a little bit easier. Right way around. Get your hinge pins. So you can put this one in like that. There we go, hinge pin in, top and bottom. Make sure they're located right up. Now fitting the doors like this, before you've done put all the fixings in, means that you can actually square it up before driving all the fixings home. So basically we need a packer in the top of the frame to bring that down. Doors look pretty good, to be honest, pretty level. So what we'll do, first of all, is get a packer in the top here, so we'll loosen the screw off. There we go. Get our packers. See which size we need behind there. That's probably a blue one. Blue packer in there. I'll just look at that before I do it up. Looks like it still wants a little bit more this end. That should be somewhere near it. Okay. This door looks like it could do with going up slightly. So you can adjust that here with one of the hinge packers, which again, I'll show you that. So in your kit, again, you'll have a little plastic bag with some hinge packers in it, which are these things, clear. They just literally go behind the hinge in here. which will bring the door up slightly at the bottom. So don't take them all out, don't take them right out, just loosen them off. Okay, I've just released the hinge at the bottom, loosen the screws off, just so I can get this hinge packer in there. So the hinge packer goes in there. Make sure it goes right in. There we go. Right, now do that up with the hinge packer in. Okay. There you go, lovely. That should have raised the angle that the door sits on, so it fits better there. There we go. It's made a little bit of difference. Now the rest we should be able to do when we fix the sides. Now it still wants to come up slightly, this door. So when we do this top one up, top screw up, do that up tighter, that will raise the angle of the door, which is pretty much perfect now. Okay, so now our doors are fitting pretty bang on. We can put the rest of our fixings in. Remember, we've only got, at the moment, we've got one fixing in the top, one here, which is in the correct place now. That is exactly where it wants to be. It's tight, and that's where it wants to be. This side, loose. Now check the spacing at the back. Now this one at the top is pretty much tight against the wall, so no spacings can go behind there. We have got a gap at the bottom, so before we put a screw in there, we need to fill that gap, otherwise the screw will pull it against the wall and put the whole frame out of square again. So we'll be back where we started. So packer in there, in this case I can get a blue one in there. There we go. Now I can do that one up, but again, don't go crazy with it. All it wants to do, it's only holding the framework in there, so there's no need to drive it into the wall as hard as you possibly can. All you need to do is literally do it up to the head of the screw touches the woodwork, and it's going to go nowhere. This one is pretty much against the wall. Now the reason that is because the frame, obviously the frame is square. We've got our frame square, but our wall, more than likely, is out of square. If somebody was to, if I was ever to fit anything in and the window was absolutely square, it would be a rarity. Obviously by the time everything's done, building wise, plastered, there's no way it can be square. Right, so again, I've done that up. I haven't put it right home. Now in most cases, that one would do at the top, but we'll put a screw in the others, just to be safe. Okay, so do that up. Again, we don't want to pull the frame out of square, so this screw, we've got a packer in the middle, exactly where we want it, so just do the screw up just till it touches the timber. And that will do fine. There we go, that's going nowhere. Okay, so we need fixings for right hand side, which I've run out of, so I'll have to get some more out of my toolbox. Good, I've got another 2 fixings from some shutters we did yesterday. Actually, I only need that one. Right, so fixing in our bottom fixing. Just start it off so you've got into the hole with the plug in it. We need to pack it before we drive it home, because we've got, again, our window displays, our window our window reveals splay outwards. We've got a gap here at the bottom. We've got a gap here at the bottom. At the top, they're pretty flush. So yes, you can break your spacers just to get the correct size. Just hold. I'm gonna have to hold this one in place. Right, don't over tighten it. Make sure everything is how it should be. Top screw I can now do up till it touches the timber. There we go. Make sure everything's still where it should be by closing your shutters and checking. And there we go. So we fitted it so that our spacing along the bottom is like ideal, and the bushes on the bottom are just touching the framework, which is exactly where we want it. Spacing around the top is pretty spot on. Down the sides, everything is good, and that's how you install your shutters. Next thing we're going to do is cover up our screws. Now remember, I showed you these bits and how to take them off without breaking them. Now these can be installed again. So put them into the groove. A bit more difficult to get back in than they are to slide out. And give it a good push to clip it into place. Sometimes you have to give it a little bit more persuasion in some places. There we go. You can normally hear it snap into place when it's actually gone in. If you don't get it right in a few days later, that will probably fall down. And if it does, you'll know why. Okay, in the bottom. Oh, I need to drive a couple of screws in the bottom. Actually, I'm just going to put two into our windowsill. So, screws into the windowsill. Fixes the bottom into place. Make sure we're still good. Okay, good. Right. Screw cover on the bottom. Again, give it a tap till it snaps into place. Sides. Make sure you get the bottom in first before you start to tap. There we go. Bottom's in. Left hand side in. Okay, pretty much have a good clear up, move all the dust, clean any dirty fingerprints off the doors. You will, no matter how clean your hands are, you will end up leaving dirty, greasy fingerprints on the doors after you've been installing them. So just give them a good wipe over. Make sure there's no gaps anywhere. If there is, if you pull the frame slightly out of square and your joints, that's acceptable. But if it's too far out, you can use some cork, white decorator's cork. Now, it's easy to make a mess with this, but if you just put a little on your finger and just wipe it into the gap, and then wipe it off afterwards so that literally it is in the gap and not all over your framework. You can do that on all the corners, just depends how fussy you are. Me, I am a little bit fussy, and I do tend to do that just so it looks absolutely perfect. I will show you how to do that at another stage. Get your decorator's cork, which again, if you need any, you can buy it off the website when you order shutters. It would be handy to have at least one. Put it into your cork gun or your silicone gun. Again, if you haven't got one of these, you can buy one of these off our website. Just give it a squeeze until you get a little bit out. Release it again so no more comes out. A little bit on your finger, as long as you don't mind messy fingers. If you just wipe it into the gap, it will fill that little gap. There we go. Try and keep it as mess free as possible. If you get now get a wet cloth and wipe over that, or in our case, we have some wet wipes. Which you can get from literally anywhere. Give that a wipe off now. So you get all the surface off. And there you go, there's your joint filled as it should be. Perfectly. Obviously, if you're really fussy, do that on all 4 joints. What do I do with that silicone? It's like really quick to do. A little bit on the finger again. Wipe it in. Wipe it into that groove. Do that one as well while I'm here. Give it a good wipe in so it goes right into that joint. And then give it a wipe to wipe the excess off the surface. And then you end up with a perfect joint. I'll just do that one as well because that one's, if there's a worse one, that is the worst one. And at the end of the day, this is my office. So they have to look good. Alright, okay, wipe the excess off. Wiping over the joint, not along it. If you wipe along it, you will pull the cork out that you've just put in there. Exactly the same inside. If you're not happy here, do the same here, same there. From outside, if you're on like a ground level, you may be able to see the gap on the inside. If you can, and you don't like it because you can see it from the outside, just cork around there. Cork down there, wipe it in with your finger. Again, wet cloth, wipe the excess off, and you'll end up with an absolutely perfectly fitted shutter. So basically that is it. I can't really show you anymore. Perfect shutters that anybody would be delighted with. There you go. That's how you install, measure up and install shutters. Any bits that you need for the job, just go to our website and you'll find them all in the parts section. Okay.